We have a lot to get into tonight, but I just want to preface by saying that I've been doing this for almost 5 years now, and Ethan, you know that if you're getting called out by someone big in the community, it's like you're getting somewhere, right?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. This is our first real controversy. First time, our first public scandal. So I think that's going to be part of the focus of tonight's show is
Yeah.
addressing that.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Yeah, we're going to go ahead and get into that in just a second, but I do want to preface that I do not, that while I am going to be talking about this, there was a tweet that was put out that I want to address. I do not condone any harassment or anything like that. I'm just giving my response. I want to talk about this, give my opinion on it, and see if we can come up with a little resolution that benefits everybody. So, with that being said, we're going to go ahead and dive right into it. So, ladies and gentlemen, this started on Saturday afternoon when a pretty big person on Twitter who is in the weather community, well respected, I would say, James Pettus, decided to call me out on Twitter, on Twitter, and he decided to pin his tweet as well, which I thought was kind of interesting. And I wanted to kind of go over this, give my thoughts on this, and give my opinions as well as let Ethan and David share theirs as well. So this is the tweet in question. We're going to talk about this, and we're going to kind of give our opinions as we go. So here's the situation. I'll just also the preface, I do reply in this as well. I do put out my own tweets in response to this as well. I will be going over this and kind of give you my thoughts as this was happening. So this is what was going on. This was the tweet that was put out Saturday afternoon at 2:21 p.m. my time. Has about 14,000 views on Twitter. So this is what it says right here. It's that time of the year again where hyped winter outlooks are starting to appear. Keep in the back of your mind that it's only late July, not close to winter. While we have a broad idea of what this winter might look like in our El Nino setup, there are still a ton of deciding factors to figure out. Fair enough. These posts are also being more frequently posted as opposed to past years with the hype around our, quote, super El Nino that is expected to take place. Just keep scrolling, and that is the tweet right there. And what he posted with this is a little graphic right here. Today is July 25th, 129 days until winter. This is the graphic that he has right here. And in case you didn't notice, this is my video right here. This was my first preliminary winter weather forecast right here. I put this out about 3.5 weeks ago on the 4th of July. So happy Independence Day for those who got to see that on that day. But ultimately, what I found kind of interesting over here is if you're taking a look at this, my name was actually, and some of my description was actually blurred out in this graphic right here, which I'll admit I did take exception to because I'm like, okay, if you're going to call somebody, if you're going to call somebody out, this is what's going through my head at the time. Just to preface, okay, if you're going to call somebody out, just say their name and show the face behind it. And I wanted to also know what issues he had exactly with the video itself, which I will admit there was definitely some production issues with the video. Obviously, the music was a little bit louder than and all that stuff, which I got so many comments about. But I wanted to kind of get his perspective, and I wanted to know like what his issues in particular were with my video. So I figured, you know what, I'm gonna respond to this, but I also want to invite him on the Triple P show to kind of have a little discussion, have a debate, and get his perspective because that's what this show is all about. This is a show for the community. I want people, especially YouTubers and people who are well respected in our community, to come on, have some fun. I want to set up some debates as well. We've definitely had some great moments on that as well. So this is the tweet in question. Before we get to Ethan and David real quickly, I do want to get to my response real quickly, and this is what I quote tweeted right here. Next time you call someone out, do it directly and don't blur out my name. I was being a little confrontational right there, I will admit. And then this is what I said afterward. That said, I would like to extend an invite for you to come on the Triple P show for a discussion about this. Show times are next week on Wednesday and Friday nights at 8 p.m. EDT, 7 p.m. EDT. Wednesday night is right now. Let us know. So that's how I responded initially. Ethan, David, if you'd like, so far from what you've seen, like, what are your overall thoughts based on the tweet itself and my response?
So I will give my thoughts on the tweet itself.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Basically, he's saying, "Oh, this is clickbait. Just scroll past the video." Right?
You're right.
You know, okay, that's his opinion. He's entitled to it.
Right.
But I think what that says though is that he did not watch the video itself, because
Exactly.
we're not. If he had actually watched the video, you're not trying to claim, oh, in 6 months we are going to have a historic blizzard or an
Mhm.
extremely active winter on the East Coast. We're just saying the pattern is there for it.
Yeah.
I mean, I think yeah, the way I look at this is, like I said, if he was arguing in good faith and genuinely here to criticize your channel or the type of content you were posting, then I think he would have accepted an invite to the show, which
Sure.
as of right now, he is not.
We'll get to that in a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, the way I see this is honestly like, if you're going to criticize, at least watch the video. All right, at least watch the video,
Yeah.
which obviously he did not do. And
Yeah.
I'm just going to leave it
Well,
at that for
we don't
now.
know
And
his
let
intentions
Dave,
behind it. Yeah, we don't know his intentions behind it. We don't know if he
yeah, I'm
saw
not going
it
to
or
jump
not.
to any assumptions or
Yeah, let's
anything
not
about
do
why
that.
he made the tweet or why he's, you know, if any, if there's an agenda
Mhm.
that's trying to be promoted here.
Yeah.
But all I'm going to say is just watch the video if you're going to criticize it. All right,
Exactly.
watch the video, see what we're actually talking about.
Yeah. All right, Dave.
That's really just
Oh,
my take on it right now. So if David wants to say something, go
Yeah.
right ahead.
go for it.
All right. This is my honest take about it. As a weather community, the point of this is competition. Okay. There's
Mhm.
competition out there. This is about the time of the year. Some people, some channels start uploading weather or winter forecasts as early as late July.
Yeah.
Personally, I'm going to wait until mid July or mid August. There's
Mhm.
many reasons for that. But James, I see where you're going with this. I do understand because it is a bit early, but we have a pretty good idea. And actually, El Ninos are well when it comes to a winter pattern for the winter time across the United States. It's more to be set in stone than a La Nina pattern, because with an El Nino you get a more subtropical, more extended, more zonal subtropical jet
Mhm.
with not much waviness in the jet. So we have no, excuse me, allergies are bad today. So
Go
we get
ahead.
a pretty good idea that okay, the deep south is going to be wet in general, and the northern plains are going to be warmer and drier, right? Um, so I see where you're going with this,
Mhm.
James. I understand. But at the end of the day, James, everyone has their own way of forecasting this upcoming winter.
Yeah.
Maybe Pat expects blizzards, Arctic outbreaks across northern Canada. I'm not going to criticize them. I'm going to say, okay, that's your opinion. My opinion is way different.
Sure.
Honestly, I'm going to give a little bit of a little spoiler alert here.
Mhm.
I expect it to be more mild and drier in parts of the Great Lakes and the northern tier of the United States, and
Yeah.
very, very mild across Canada because of that zonal jet that's going to be increasing over to the Pacific into the United States, especially given the fact, quote, super El Nino that is developing. I don't like using that word as much anymore just
Mhm.
because super is not really in a term. Maybe it will be down the road, but definitely a very strong El Nino with sea surface temperatures greater than at least 3 Celsius, you know. Um, but all I do ask you, James, is, you know, it's freedom of speech. I
Right.
understand that, but if you cannot say anything nice at all, let's not put posts out there on X about other YouTubers. It really doesn't look good. Because at the end of the day, we are trying to create weather content that the audience is going to understand and soak in and learn, you know?
Yeah.
I used to be the first weather YouTuber out there on YouTube, I believe, back in
You were one
2017.
of
Then
them. Yeah.
Direct Weather came around, and then other people, right? Um, and I'll tell you, I have my own opinion. Um, I'll sometimes I'll criticize other people, but I keep it to myself because I know if I made a post like this, I would probably be called out.
Sure.
And people would look at me as, oh, David's criticizing other people and everything. It just doesn't look good, okay?
Yeah.
Again, I don't want to be offensive to you, James, but honestly,
Yeah.
we all have our different ways of forecasting. We do.
Mhm.
Maybe you expect otherwise. Actually, a few other people out there on social media are downplaying this El Nino, like, oh, it's not going to be really that big of a deal in the United States.
I don't think that
All
was
right,
his intent, but go ahead.
I know, but
Yeah.
I'm sorry, my whole
It's
opinion
okay.
here is a little
Yeah.
bit different.
Sure. It's fine.
Oh, so in general, um, as a weather community, James, we're gonna forecast what we think the weather pattern is gonna do this winter. All right, and it gives you a general idea. Not everyone's gonna forecast the same thing, right? That's the
Sure.
whole, like Pat's gonna predict this. I'm gonna predict that. You're gonna predict something different.
Yeah.
Direct Weather is gonna predict something different. Weatherman Plus is gonna predict something different. Ryan Hall, y'all.
Yeah, Naz.
Velocity.
Yep.
Naz does weather. Think of us as weather models out there. There's
Oh, man.
50 or 60 different weather channels out there. You're just one of those people out
Mhm.
of the whole realm of weather enthusiasts out there and meteorologists that state your opinion.
Sure.
But sometimes your opinion on X can backfire, which pretty much it did tonight.
I wouldn't necessarily agree with that. Yeah, at least with that last statement. What I would you're
yeah.
okay. What I want to say though is calling people out publicly. If people think if they're going to call you out publicly, they're not going to watch. They're going to keep scrolling. What ends up happening a lot of the time too is the opposite ends up happening, and people end up getting driven to your channel a lot more. To that channel a lot more. I've seen it happen in numerous occasions, as well. Even not just in the weather community, but also in other communities as well on YouTube. So calling people out on paper may seem like, okay, I'm raising awareness about this, but it ultimately can drive traffic to that channel that you're trying to say, hey, you shouldn't be watching this, because they're like, what's so bad about that? And they'll click on that. Kind of like reverse psychology, but that's just kind of my take on it. So that's kind of the tweet itself. I want to get to the replies and all that and get to that because there's some more context here that I do want to show for the audience. So after I posted my response right here, James was like, not trying to call you out specifically. There are hundreds of other videos from other channels. Yours just popped first. My question for you, James, is if that was the case and you saw other channels, why didn't you use this in your graphic? Why didn't you bring these other YouTubers in their videos in their graphic? If you had in my opinion, if you'd put maybe 2, 3, or 4 videos with mine included, like for example, you include one of direct weather because he's predicting Arctic blasts every other day and all that stuff, and include that, I wouldn't have too big of a problem with that because you're like, okay, this is more so calling it the community out in general, but my video is the only one that's in there. So the question I have is where are the other examples right here? You said there's hundreds of other videos. Where are these examples in this graphic right here? That's kind of the other thing I want to emphasize. So after all that happened, I kind of looked at that. I extended the invite to him for him to come on the show again. He asked discussion about what exactly, and then this is what I want to talk about right here. I wanted to know what your issues with these kinds of videos with these videos in general, and a general debate on the topic. You also put my video in your tweet, so I wanted to see what issues you had with my video too, because that's what I want to know. I want to know what exactly your issues are with my video in general. That's kind of why I wanted you to come on the show, so that way we could have a conversation about that. You talked about me publicly. I figured, hey, why not extend an invite and let's talk about this publicly and let's do it that way. So this is what his response was right here, and he was like, oh, I don't know, maybe because it's July, that's just common sense, nothing to debate or discuss. this is what I responded with right here, and I will admit I did make a bit of a mistake here, and this is what I said. You called me out on Twitter, why not do it in front of a live audience? I will admit, James, if you are watching this, that did probably come off as confrontational. That wasn't my intention. And part of the reason I wanted you to come on the show too was because Twitter conversations, like, they're only behind text and all of that. Like, you're not going to have the same conversation you're going to have, like, whether it's privately, whether it's behind the scenes, whether it's a voice call, or on a live stream. So that's why I wanted to have you to come on the show, because that way we can have a conversation about this, and that way we can discuss further and kind of have a general back and forth about that, if you will. And James decided he would pass, which that's fine, I understand. And then this is what I responded with right here. If people are going to call others out on Twitter, you should do it face to face. Invite is still there if you change your mind. That's kind of my take on this whole thing. So now that I've given the replies, I did screw up there at that last reply to James. To James, if you saw that and you took it as me being confrontational, not my intention. I also worded it kind of wrong. What I wanted to say was, since you called me out on Twitter, why not do it face to face? Either way, it was still confrontational, not my intention. That's on me. So with that being said, I'm going to turn it over to our co-hosts. Now that you've seen the replies, you've seen the context with this as well. Go ahead and give your perspectives on it.
I mean, I will say that my position on the whole thing is still very much the same, right? Like, if you are going to criticize someone publicly on Twitter or any other platform, all right, at least provide some sort of constructive criticism, or tell them, what could you be doing better in your video?
Yes.
Is it the production quality? Is it just the clickbait that you're, trying to get on about? Is it the claims that are being made in the video? And what we see here is that James did not go into any of that.
Yeah.
It was kind of just a broad, general call out. So at this point, all I'm going to say is, if you're gonna call someone out in good faith, all right, do it to their face. And as always, we here on the Triple P Show, we are always open to criticism.
Yes.
In fact, we would love to have some of our critics on the show.
Exactly.
Anytime. All right.
We'd love to debate our detractors. We'd love to have mixed opinions on things. That's what this show is about.
But
it's for the community.
So that's what I'm going to say. All right. If you're going to make an argument in good faith, better defend it. All right. Give a reason. What is wrong with the video? Did you even watch the video? Which everything so far indicates that James did not watch the video.
I can't confirm or deny that.
Now we obviously can't confirm, but unfortunately, I have a feeling that, considering that none of the claims that he made were against anything in the video in particular, I mean, like I said, if you're going to argue, if you're going to criticize us, all right, be specific. All right. You can be brutally honest if that's what you want to, but be specific. All right.
Yeah.
And I'll just leave it at that. All right. If anyone else in the live stream is watching, and you want to come on the show and criticize Storms United or Pat's Path Predictor, or anything that you've seen, all right, you're more than welcome to come on the show.
Yeah, we'd like to have your opinion. Yeah. But anyway, David, you go ahead.
I don't have anything else to say.
All right, that's fine. I'll go ahead and draw this up and just say this then. James, I understand where you're coming from. I personally don't exactly appreciate the way it was approached. I felt like I took exception to some things that in that call out video, for example, being blurred out and all that stuff, as well as the fact that you didn't provide any other examples, and it just kind of used mine, just slapped it on there. That's just coming from my perspective right there. That's just kind of my opinion. You can take with it as you will. I'm not here to stop you from that. That said, I was a little confrontational with you on Twitter. I didn't intend to come across that way. Some of it was in the heat of the moment. Some of it was bad wording. I would still be very open to have a discussion with you. I would still be very willing to talk to you. I'm actually in your Discord server, as a matter of fact. I'm willing to have a conversation with you as well. I'm willing to talk.
Pat.
Yeah, what's up?
So Pat, Pettus WX says, I literally gave a reason in the chat. So look at the chat there. He literally stated, sorry, we have a child in the background that's crying.
Oh, let me. Where's that? And I don't know where
In the
that's at.
live chat on the YouTube channel.
Yeah, I'm looking at it real quick. I'm trying to find it. Let's see. Oh, I literally gave a reason. Well, the thing is that oh, I don't know, maybe because it's July, this is common sense. It doesn't come when it comes to that, doesn't come across, like, to me it came across as kind of the best way I could describe it is just like the way I look at it is just, it came across as not necessarily not. I'm trying to find the best way to put this. It felt like, you weren't willing to talk, and I want to extend that invite. It felt like you weren't willing to talk. It was not necessarily your way or no way, but it felt like, I'm just putting this out as a generalization, and because also I wanted to know what your problems were with my video as well. So that's what I will say. Yeah, the thing is, yeah. So that's kind of my take on it, right here. That said, I'm willing to have a discussion with you. I'd be willing to have again extend an invite for you. You're probably gonna decline. I don't know, but I did want to talk about this, and I wanted to get you on the stream, get you on the show, because, like I said, talks on people talking on Twitter is a bit different than talking on IRL, not really IRL, but on voice call and behind the scenes and all of that. So if you want to have that discussion, I'm willing to have it. I'm very open to hearing your criticism. I understand where you're coming from, but I felt the way that you did it was more so a generalization, and you didn't look at any specific points. So that's just kind of my opinion on this whole thing. I did while I don't exactly appreciate my video being up there and all that stuff. That's your opinion. That's fine. I would appreciate it if you didn't blur my stuff out and you put other videos there as an example. If you're going to call out the other people in the community, you said there were hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of videos out there. Give a few examples. Like, that's what I would say. That's just my thoughts. That's my opinions on it. That's where I'm probably going to leave it for right now, unless Ethan and David want to go into more.
I think that sums up pretty much everything with regard to this situation. Yeah, as always, if you want to debate us or challenge any of our takes, then feel free to come on the show. All right, I'm going to extend that invite to anyone out there who, wants to, challenge some of our views and some of our decisions. But as David was saying earlier, right, every weather YouTuber, everyone's going to have a different opinion. All right, we all are generally looking at the same thing, right? The El Nino that's coming up this winter. Mm-hmm. But obviously, we're going to have different takes on that, and that's fine. Like I said, we try to be as transparent, as trustworthy as we can to the public, and ultimately, that is our goal. As Pat always says at the end of each video, the goal of the channel is to get more people engaged with weather. Yeah. So that has always been and will remain our goal for the foreseeable future. So I'm just going to leave it at that. And with that being said, I guess we can move on to some other things, because we do have a lot to talk about tonight.
Yeah, we have several things to talk about tonight. But I wanted to talk about this, and I wanted to address this first because because this came up, and I want to address it. And I know I made a couple mistakes on my end, and I want to address those too. So, with that being said, James, at least for this point, if you're willing to talk to us, we can, but if not, we can just agree to disagree at this current point. So, thank you very much for that. With that being said, we're going to go ahead and move on and talk about our weather segments for the video tonight. So, for those of you who are tuning in for this whole thing, we're done with that. We're going to move on to another segment.